Well, hello again, Paulding County, and welcome to the Chairman's Corner, where we try to provide information that's useful to you about how our county departments operate and any other information that we think would be helpful and that you'd be interested in. Today, I'm pleased and honored to have the Director of Information Technology, Mr. Will Lyons, who adds so much to county government in ways that before I got involved in county government would have not had any idea all the things that Will does. So, Will, thank you for being here. And the way I usually like to start out is just allow you to give us a little bit about your background and maybe your education, other jobs that you've enjoyed.
Well, thank you for having me. I guess my career dates back to 1991 with West Georgia College. When I entered college, like any student there, you're hungry, you need work, you want some money. So I went to work in the computer lab. I had never taken any type of computer job prior to that experience. Computers are very limited in high school, No one used them really. And so that was really my first experience. Once I finished college, I went on to work for a consulting firm in Roswell. Spent 10 years there. Serving as a consultant to organizations like Bear Stearns, stockbrokers firm, several banks, Fidelity, Bank South, Nations Bank. The financial sector was huge for us. We did some legal consulting for groups as well. So what that allowed me to do is get a variety of practices and various subjects and material, and it made me very versatile. I've continued my education process through certifications such as Microsoft, Cisco, various industries and various certifications, some of which have expired, but some of which are still practical in today's aptitude.
Very, very broad background. It's another thing I like about these chats is I learned more about you than I ever knew before, so that's a great background. Brings a lot to Paulding County. What are some of the accomplishments that you've seen over the last year or even farther back than that?
Well, we've done so much since I've come into the organization. The IT department didn't exist 20 years ago, as with many of the services and the computers that we have nowadays. So, we've really brought that department up to speed with state-of-the-art equipment, services. We have two divisions in IT. We have the IT department, which is basically the support and the operations side of the house that keeps the computers running.
Okay.
Then we have the GIS side, the GIS division, which is the mapping portion of Paulding County, and addressing. So we get involved with the permit side of addressing and then handle the maps online and public requests for those maps.
We've heard a lot about 5G over the last months. What is it, and tell us how it can benefit the county?
Well, 5G is pretty exciting, I've got to admit. Let me start with a little bit of history about 3G and 4G, because a lot of people came into the cell phone industry with 3G, and they were struggling to download movies and play games. Well, when 4G came along, it enabled the bandwidth capability on those devices so you could play the games, you could watch your movies without the interruption of the caching and downloading of information that bothered people so much. 5G, what it's going to do is going to be 200 times faster than 4G. So you're talking about, upwards near of a gig of bandwidth per second.
Amazing, amazing. My next thoughts were about some of the things that can go wrong in the IT world, and we had Atlanta got hit by this ransomware problem, and I think it'd be interesting to our citizens kind of know how in the county that we can address that and react to it.
Well, that's a great question. Ransomware is becoming very sophisticated and very more targeted toward governments because it used to attack the private sector, but the private sector, they started spending more money increasing their security boundaries, educating their employees, so it became less of a target. Now they're targeting the government sector, which tends to have a little bit more challenge with staffing and funding. I wish I could say we don't have a problem with it, but if you have connections to the internet, you're going to have problems with it. I don't want to go into too much of the technical details, but I do want to assure you and the citizens of Paulding County that Paulding County has a robust security system, multi-layers and multiple devices at each layer to protect our organization. The hardware is built to recognize malicious code, malicious attacks, but hardware is not enough. It takes people and people being responsible to look for these type of attacks.
Well, this has been very enlightening to me, and I know our citizens. I guess maybe a closeout question would be looking into the next year, into the future, projects that you have running around in your mind, or maybe you've already started. I know some things you and I have talked about that are pretty exciting for the future, but we'll end with that. What are your comments there?
Well, I can't answer all of them because some of the solutions that we'll deploy in 5 years probably don't exist right now. But to answer that question directly, we've got some pretty exciting projects coming on. You know, we're looking at phase 2 of the Silver Comet Trail, where we'll extend the security cameras to the Cobb County line from Terra Drummond, and then from Terra Drummond over to Rambo Trailhead. Those security cameras, along with the existing ones, are running back to 911, where our operators are staffing there, are answering phones and able to see these video live feeds all day, all night. Then some of the major ones that we're also attending to right now are the reservoir. We're very involved in that process for the electronics and the systems that are going in there. We are focused on the new jail coming in. That's pretty exciting for us. There's a lot of technology available for law enforcement, and I expect a lot of this technology to be put into the new building, RFID capabilities, video, audio, you name it. There's so much technology that can go in. I expect to use a lot of it there. Those are probably the biggest projects we have going on right now, along with several other smaller ones that aren't near as exciting.
Well, these are exciting, and they're great value added to Paulding County, and it's an irreplaceable part of doing business in government and really in life in general. But you've educated me a lot, and hopefully the constituents and citizens have received benefit from it. And I just want to thank you for being here.
And thank you so much. Anytime.
Okay.